G'day guys, how are we? Welcome to the review of TSZYU Brian Mendoza, and just at the Gold Coast airport at the moment, just waiting to get our flight back to Melbourne, so I thought I would jump on and do a quick review of the fight. What a fight it was. The whole card was okay. It was okay. I thought a little bit surprised at the Hamden and Colver's, I think it was his name, Danvers, whatever it was, Danvers. I'm surprised that wasn't on there. The Julius Long Vuatu fight, I was surprised that was on the main card. But all that aside, it doesn't really matter who's on the undercard, as long as the main event measures up, and it certainly did, because TSZYU, what a performance. Brian Mendoza come with a big reputation, of course. He had some great knockouts recently, but I just thought he really struggled with everything that TSZYU had to offer. And it was really what really surprised me, and or pleasantly surprised me, by the way, is it's the first time in my mind. I know that he's got a lot of believers and a lot of support, obviously, in Australia. It does TSZYU, but I was really pleasantly surprised for the first time that this was a guy who was a legitimate top 2, top 3 fighter in the division in the world. That was undisputed, of course. This wasn't, say, a Harrison that might have been past his best. This wasn't an Ocampo who, probably hadn't had those big wins in the past. Good credentials, of course, but not really that upper echelon. Today I saw an elite fighter in TSZYU completely take apart another elite fighter in Mendoza, and that was the pleasing thing. And I know Tim's had a lot of belief. I know, obviously, we all believe in him. He's obviously, himself and his team do, but the public, sometimes they can get a little bit caught up in these knockout victories, and they're great, and Tim can only do what he's going to do. But as I said, today was the first time I've seen an elite A-grader just dismantle another, not A-grader, but on the cusp, and a really good credentialed opponent, and that was the pleasing thing. And that might sound a little bit harsh from some of the other boxing fans out there that we're not giving Tim enough credit, but the casuals love it, and that's great. They're the ones that all pay for it. But as I said, this is the first time I've seen Tim who just do a job. A fighter that was supposedly at that level, and Tim just made him look like he was nowhere near it. Now, as far as the scoring goes, I thought, obviously it started pretty slow. Tim, as suspected, really had a good look at him. I thought a great game plan to start. Mendoza too, he probably came out a little bit more aggressive than what I thought he would. I thought he might have been a little bit more standoffish, but when Tim started to get the ball rolling in the second and third rounds, you could tell that Brian Mendoza, once he got a real taste of what TSZYU had to offer, that it was going to be a long night for him. Now, to his credit, he hung tough. I mean, I think I gave him 3 rounds. I gave him the 4th, I gave him the 8th. Now, they could have easily gone the other way as well, but I gave him the 4th and the 8th and the 12th, mainly because TSZYU took the round off, and he had the fight won, so why take risks? So I get that. But apart from that, TSZYU completely dominant. The rounds, I think it was the 6th rounds. There's a few rounds anyway where he just had Brian Mendoza going, and just full credit to Brian Mendoza's toughness. I thought he hung in there as well as he could, was busted up at the end. The only thing I would probably say that I think Tim needs to work on is, he's been a great finisher over the junior course, especially the last couple of fights with those uppercuts against Harrison, and then the devastating punches against Ocampo. But one thing I just want to probably see him tweak a little bit more going forward is that when he gets that rush of blood and he really starts to let them go, he can tend to leave himself open. And that's something I'm sure they'll work on. I'm sure they'll be looking at the tape and seeing what they could have done differently. But that's probably the only, I won't call it a criticism, but only little bit of negative feedback I'll probably say to today, in what was a completely dominant and all-round great performance from TSZYU. And he now looks, well, we've known it for a while, but now it's just official that he is at the level in a big way, and he is the top dog in the 154-pound division. So that's really good for TSZYU. But as I said, that's probably the only thing I would probably want him to maybe work on, or see him work on a little bit more going forward, in that just when he has them on the go, he just tends to start winging punches and just leaves himself a fraction open. But as I said, I'm sure they've seen it, I'm sure they're working on it, and no doubt when he gets those other big fights in the States that he will make the adjustments and be even better. But that's the sort of way I saw it. I just thought right throughout the fight, not a lot sort of changed as far as the whole trend of the fight went. I thought from the word go, Tim was completely in charge. The fight was completely at his pace. He decided when the pace was going to go up. He decided when the pace was going to go down, and that is a sign, again, of an elite fight. I've said this numerous times, but he reminds me so much of Triple G, Gennady Golovkin, in the way he just hunts you down. He hunts you and hunts you and hunts you, but at the same time, doesn't throw a lot of punches until he has you hurt. But he's in front of you, he's that perceived pressure he puts on you, he makes you punch, and then he comes back with those hard uppercuts and hooks. So just a great performance from Tim. Just improves every single fight. So it's not really many negatives, I suppose. Apart, look, if you're Brian Mendoza, it was a big negative taking on TSZYU, but credit to him for what he did. He was so tough. That he could have easily taken a knee or quit in his corner, and no one would have thought anything less of him, but he continued on. He dug in deep. He was just completely overmatched by a superior fighter. So, and it sort of went a lot of the way a lot of us probably thought. If you looked at my preview, I did say that Tim would probably break him down and stop him in 9 or 10 rounds, which could have easily happened. But as I said, again, to Mendoza's credit, hung in there, and Tim probably could have, if he put the foot down in the last round, maybe could have got Brian Mendoza out of there. But I thought he played it safe. No, he's taking any risks. You've got the fight won. It looks like he's going to fight again early in 2024. So why take risks at that point of the fight? So I was just so impressed. As I said, I had a 117, 111 for TSZYU. It always looks a little bit different when you're in the venue itself to when you watch it on TV. So I'm not sure how all you guys out there had it. But I personally, 117, 111. I think the scores might have been, I think one of the judges might have had it the same. One was 116, 112, I think. I can't remember what the third one was, but they're all unanimous and all got the end result that was the right thing to do. So, but apart from that, as I said, just a really, really complete and dominant performance from TSZYU. I thought he was really, after probably the 6th, 7th round, I know he put the foot down a few times, but I just thought he was pretty much in third gear. I think if he really wanted to pick it up, he might have stopped it late, but as I said, just did the right thing and got through the fight. So interesting to hear your thoughts. Can't wait for TSZYU. There's talk he's going to go to the States in February or March, whenever the NRL kickoff is. They're doing the NRL rugby league in Las Vegas, and I think they want to tie in a TSZYU fight with that, amongst other things. So that would be great, and really smart from the NRL and also TSZYU to get all the Aussies over there. They're going to be there for the rugby league as well. So that's about it. Not much really I can really say on top of that, except that TSZYU just round after round after round just did the job and was just far too superior for Brian Mendoza. Now, the interesting thing will be to see what happens now as far as his opponents go. I know he called out Canelo afterwards. I don't think the Canelo fight's on the horizon at this stage. My thought would be that it would be Crawford. I know it's only a gut feeling. I don't see Charlo coming back, although he has said in the last few days that, for the first time, he's actually mentioned Tim's name as far as being a proposed, a potential opponent. So who knows what goes on there. I think it'll all depend on what happens with some of the other big fights out there for him. Looks like he's going to lose his IBF belt as well. The Russian has been mandated by the IBF to take Charlo on next. I'm not sure Charlo wants that fight either. So the odds are he might lose that. So whether the ego gets the better of him and he wants to come back for those belts, I don't know. But I just think at this stage, for me, my gut feeling is it's going to be Crawford at some stage. Crawford, he's going to fight probably Spence, or they're talking about early next year for the Spence fight. So I'm thinking maybe mid next year we might get TSZYU and Terence Crawford. However, that would mean that obviously that Tim would need to tune up in February or March whenever the rugby league stuff is. But either way, I think his next big fight will be Crawford before he fights a Charlo or Canelo. The Canelo fight would be fantastic, of course, but as I said, I just think Canelo's only got probably 2 or 3 years left. I'm not sure whether Tim will be at that level, well, at that stature by that stage. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know your thoughts down below, and we'll catch you next time.